Welcome, adventurers from across time and space. 5 creators have been brought together from across the internet for one purpose and one purpose alone: to travel through time and have a good time doing it. When big changes happen to the timeline, the change attracts other time travelers like gravity. They won't be able to move past it until they fix whatever was messed up. So our heroes are stuck together, but only for the time being. Hello and welcome to For the Time Being. This is a special episode, a solo episode, and a bit of an experiment, if I'm honest with you. I will be really frank, I have not had a lot of time to spend with solo RPGs. I don't know why. It hasn't really been my thing. But I really like the idea of a solo RPG. I think that the opportunity that is presented by a solo RPG is really interesting. And as a result, I would like to see how Mavericks does as a solo RPG. I think that it's got enormous potential. I think there's a huge opportunity to try to play this game almost like a game of solitaire. And so what we are doing here today is a bit of an experiment in that vein. I am going to use a deck of cards that I have marked as a character called the Highest. The Highest is a character for the deck setting of Mavericks. Though, of course, could we run into a character from the deck universe in our time travel stories? I think the likelihood is pretty high, and as the sole authority on such things, you can take my word for that. So I am going to work to tell a short story with this deck, using the rules that are laid out in deck, specifically regarding NPCs. And what I would like to encourage you to do, dear listeners, is to send me your thoughts on where this story should go next. And I'm going to do my darndest to integrate as many of your ideas into the next chapter of this as possible. Now, will that be the next episode in the stream? Will it be 4 episodes from now? That I can't say. It'll depend on whether our usual cast of characters are able to join me once again in our virtual studio. But for right now, let's sit back and try to tell a story single-handed. All right, a quick word about the Highest. According to what I wrote down months ago in advance of Gen Con, the Highest is the leader of the Blue Dynamo Flyland. Flylands being the floating islands that hover above the seas of this world. This sort of post-apocalyptic situation where the seas have risen, leaving only an endless archipelago of unconnected colonies on islands. But in the wake of what went before, societies have left behind huge amounts of riches and mysteries, some of which are found on these flylands. Now, what was the purpose of the flylands? Where were they made? Who made them? These are all mysteries that are not explicated in the book. Do I have my thoughts? Absolutely. Am I going to impose those thoughts on other DMs? Not unless they ask. But in this particular situation, I may allude to some of my particular leanings on what the Flylands are. Now, the highest is in love with the sea and descends to the waves to swim as often as possible, but they keep a pretense of fitness for a scrap, ready for fighting. They keep a demeanor of a fighter. They were trained to be a homesteader, a colonist, but they retained very little, and luck has not been kind to them over the years. Everything they have has come from careful calculation and execution. They do have friends, two of whom are merfolk, living beneath the Flyland in the sea that the highest loves so much. And one is Heron, the highest's childhood friend and scavenging partner. Of course, they have enemies, as all characters should. Captain Friedland of the Great Coat, Panseal, a vegetable merchant who won't sell to Blue Dynamo, and Big Hal, who's part of an idiot street gang, probably back in the colony where he's from, or they're from. The impediment that this character has is that they can only fight with numbers on their side, which I think is a very interesting choice. I don't remember why I made that particular decision, but the highest is only going to go into a fight if they've got backup. So I think that in the interest of letting the cards tell the story, allowing some amount of fate into this, since we are playing one-handed, what I'm going to do is draw a card to tell me about where we start the story. And my first card is a 3 of spades. Now, spades are the suit that we associate with the pirates of this setting, and a 3 tells me that these pirates are particularly down on their luck. So I think the story must begin on an unfortunate pirate ship. And since we are introducing ourselves to this character, perhaps the highest is humoring them by allowing them to think that they have him in their clutches. I'm imagining a small pirate ship, probably one mast, maybe half a dozen pirates, crammed in gunwale to gunwale, always scrabbling for space and food and resources. But that's a life that probably benefits them in the long run. They need that to succeed. They need to be desperate. That's what drives them. It's what's eventually going to take them somewhere if they survive this run-in with the highest. I think the highest, being a scrapper and a Flylander, wears a lot of oilcloths and overalls, a lot of thick, durable work clothes that can be cleaned easily, probably with a hose. Think like rubberized and oil-skinned, waxed surfaces. And as the highest quirks an eyebrow at these unfortunate pirates, desperately trying to figure out what to do now that they've caught him, I think he looks around, and I'm going to draw a card to see how well that goes for me. All right, I've got a 7. A 7 of spades. Spades being aligned with the pirates, I think that tells me that there's some good fortune on their side. Something that's going to cause me trouble. I think they have a grappling gun, a weapon that they could use to hurt my people up on the Flyland. It's probably the reason they're here in these waters, to be able to find a Flyland like mine. Maybe they've heard about the Blue Dynamo, and they're here specifically to take what's ours. Seeing this grappling hook, this cannon, tells me that this is not an amusing situation. These are not laughable pirates anymore. These are pirates that need to be dealt with. I cast about looking for other options. My arms are bound. The pirates are laughing at me. And the grappling cannon just looms in my eyes. I'm going to try and get lucky. In this game, luck is a 1 in 4 chance. I'm going to declare a suit, draw the top card of my deck, and if that suit matches, luck is on my side. We know luck is not usually on the highest side, but maybe today. I'm going to choose my suit. I'm going to choose diamonds. It's spades again. Luck is not on my side. I think one of the pirates comes over and slaps me across the face. And they demand to know where the flyland is. I'm powerless. All I can do at this point is either clam up or play along in hopes that I can get the upper hand later on. I know I need support. I can only fight with numbers on my side. Right now, I am less than helpless. If I'm going to make it, I need my buddies. I need Heron. Even the merfolk beneath, maybe Squilla and Valaro. So I'm going to tell them. I'm going to quietly reach one hand up and point off into the distance. The heading for the Blue Dynamo. And with excitement, the pirates pull their rigging, grab onto the helm, perhaps their steering board manually, pull the boat around, and make drive directly for the Blue Dynamo flyland. Before too long, you can see it off in the distance, above the horizon, hanging there, improbably. Just a brick of steel and improbable hovering. Flylands like this one clearly had an industrial purpose. They are made ugly and square and flat. Very rarely is there any sign of design, beauty, aesthetics. These are not the purpose of a flyland. But in our reclaiming of them, we can make them whimsical. And I think the Blue Dynamo is one of those. There are flags that flutter off in the breeze, hanging down from the edges of the flyland, attached to the various railings and cables. These fluttering pennants show people that have visited us, places that we've sent trading expeditions to, societies that we've made connections with. These pennants are meant to show that we are safe to trade with, that we can be trusted. And to these pirates, it suggests that we're weak. Hopefully we can show them today that that's not the case. Hopefully today, the Blue Dynamo protects its own, its highest. I made a mistake going out by myself. I should never have been out here. And now I'm paying the price. And I can only hope that my closest friends, my companions, my community are there when I need them. As we come close, I look around. And I'm going to draw 2 cards here. The first one will represent what I'm up against. And the second will represent myself, my own effort. All right, I'm up against a 4. And it's a diamond That's good for me. The diamonds are my suit. In the story, I'm going to take that as a positive sign. I think I've got this. There's something about the Flyland that I can take advantage of. And the card I draw is a queen of hearts. Hearts we associate with the merfolk. So I think as we approach the Flyland, and I can see the bottom of it, I can also see the trailing line that dangles down from the Flyland that we use to call to our merfolk friends when we need to make a trade, when we need to make a connection, when we've got a little extra food to share. And I can see that cable is running down right where I could get to it. If I could just get the boat positioned in the right place, I could use it to communicate with my merfolk friends. They could come help me take care of these foolish pirates on their own. There's enough of them easily in the pod. This is starting to sound like a plan. But I'm going to have to take action myself. I'm going to have to do something to make this happen. I think this is going to be a conflict. I have to overmaster them, whether it's physically or mentally. I need to get these pirates in my control. In the usual game, what we would do is the dealer would deal 3 cards, and the players would deal 3 cards, and these represent the beginning, middle, and end of the story of the conflict. So I'm going to do the same. I'm going to deal 3 cards across from me and 3 cards in front of me to be the beginning, middle, and end of this conflict. And let's see how it begins. My antagonists have a 6 of clubs. Clubs we associate with the colonials. And I have the 5 of diamonds. My approaches may be a little predictable. It reeks of Flylander that I thought this could work. Of course, there's a cable that connects us. Of course, this is going to be a way of communicating. And of course, they saw that coming. As I try to bump the rudder so that the ship moves in close to that so I could sweep out and grab it and try to communicate, I think the pirates laugh. They laugh knowing, I think in a way that suggests ownership, leaning into that colonial aspect. I think they feel as though they have me overmastered. As I reach out for it, I think they like kick me up against the gunwale and shove the wind out of me, or knock the wind out of me. They throw my hat into the sea and throw me back onto the deck. I cough and splutter, and we flip the next card. I have an 8 of clubs against their king of spades, the king of the pirates. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the pirates chart. The king of spades, the bosun. This card has themes of anticipation and inflexibility. And I think I think we can work with that. I think as the bosun, perhaps of their former crew, who's now in command of this boat, anticipated that I was going to try something and is now using this opportunity to make an example of me. As my friends up above look down and see what is happening on the deck, as my friends below hear it through the water, as my body is kicked and bludgeoned on the bottom of this ship, it calls out to both of them at the same time in a way that they can't ignore. They have to come help or intervene or something. They couldn't possibly just stand by and let this happen. But that's the plan. I think that's the bosun's plan. He's trying to draw them out. He's got that grapple gun, and he thinks he knows exactly what to do with it. The next card for them is a 7 of diamonds. And the next card for me is a 6 of spades. And it is marked. But it is marked with the mark of stunning. The stunning mark means that the antagonist card is knocked out of this round of the combat. I can remove any card, but as this is the last one, this is the one that I have to use it on, and it also makes the most sense. Something I do in this moment, something piratical. It's the 6 of spades after all. Something I do in this moment knocks them out, gives me an opportunity, stuns them into inaction. The grapple gun. I kick forward against the bottom of the grapple gun, firing the grappling hook up into the distance, out into the sea, where one of my merfolk friends is able to grab the line, haul on the edge, and flip the boat, knocking all the pirates into the drink. For a brief moment of chaos and confusion, roiling and throwing sea, we have the upper hand. This is my chance to get away. This is my chance to meet with my merfolk friends. And as the pirates hit the water, we're going to have to deal with the fact that they knew where we are. They came prepared. And this is just part of a bigger crew. And that, dear friends, is where we are going to end this first episode. I have to admit, I think this is going better than I expected. As a solo game, it does take some knowledge of the mechanics, but what's happening makes sense. The story is flowing, and the associations of suit, the tools that are in the book, I hope I'm not just aggrandizing the work here, but I think it really does work. So tell me, listeners, where do you think this goes? Who are these pirates? What do you want to see? Anything that you send in, I will try to work it in, even if it is weird or dumb. And that is a promise that I will keep, because I am an insane person. That's just how I am. Ask any of my players. I love a good challenge like that. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your indulgence while I run a little single-handedly here in between recording sessions. And thank you for any reactions, responses, social media interaction. It's all wonderful, and I'm so honored to have you. We are all so honored to have you as our audience. Thank you all very much, and tune in next time. Sabine Bickford is Alfalfa Centauri on Instagram and Threads. Sarah Moore is at Pixies and Pins on all of the social media channels and at pixiesandpins.com. You can also check out her Sarah's Table live streams on Twitch at Pixies and Pins. Omar Burgos is at Tailweaver. Check out his work on the Tale of D20's TTRPG channel. More information at ataleofd20s.com. Ben Banks is at DJ_Blindian on Instagram and SoundCloud. I'm Ansel Burch, and you can find me at The Indecisionist on all of the meta properties and on Bluesky. Special thanks to Cameron Avesk Davis for the song you're hearing now and at the beginning of the podcast. This has been an Indecisionist production. Go to Indecisionist.com to find more of our work, including my monthly gaming event, TTRPG Pickup Con, and my other time travel podcast, Time to Party. As you travel at 1 second per second, take some time out for these intrepid adventurers. They may be in trouble, but only for the time being.